All right, I'm back. Hello. Hi. How are y'all? So let's get into this. Oops. Okay, well, I'll take care of that later. You can probably tell from this angle, you can tell that the light is on purple right now. I'm feeling purple today. I don't know. I've been feeling a bunch of green lately, but it's purple today. So let me pop this back out. Let me move this up on up here. I don't know why I'm using multiple screens today, but I am. So we are officially a whole day into Aries season. Let's see what Aries season has to bring us. Pisces season was interesting. It came out with some stuff that I wasn't necessarily expecting, but for it to be the last season of the astrological year, it made a lot of sense. Pisces season brought lots of conclusions, and honestly, in a lot of self ways, that personally makes me a lot more available to receive in many aspects. So grateful for that. Some of that stuff, girl, I didn't even see. So shout out to Pisces. Shout out to Virgo. That Virgo full moon had like some serious scorpionic feeling energy to it. But I was like, well, Virgo is also purification, so that makes sense. But anyway, let's see what I can get for us to get from Aries season. Okay. There's the headache. Yeah. All right. So, what to recall? I'll keep up. There we go. Oh, come on. Come on. We got multiples. And what we have to gain from this season. Oh, that's interesting. Both of those cards featured a blade. Bottom of the deck is marijuana. I'm just I'm sorry. Sorry. I got this little I was in Walmart looking for a sheet mask. I've never had one before, and this is the one I found. It's Hemp Dreams. This video obviously isn't sponsored. It's a Hemp Dreams sheet mask. Um, and then versatility is there. Versatility actually makes sense for like hemp and like THC and CBD and the whole plant because it has so many uses and it can be used for so many things. And when it was made illegal, like read, I heard from someone that it was made illegal because of its use for textiles and paper. And it would have wrecked those industries, like the paper industry or something. And so they made it illegal. And then it's like, there are all these research and science. It's all manipulated. It's not all manipulated, but it's very easy to manipulate and put a certain thing out there. Oh, research shows that this links to that. Oh, but does it really? You know, I was gonna say that's why you can't trust Sagittarius. That's why you need to make sure, like, whenever you're dealing with a Hierophant or a Sagittarian energy, that it's like they want what's in your best of interest, and that's the philosophical, expansive, educated, sage-like nature of Jupiter, and that's why Hierophant for me, I can see it being Taurus in terms of like commitment or in terms of something that it's like once you get into it, then you don't really want to leave it. But for me, honestly, it feels a lot more Sagittarian. But anyway, it's something that has many, 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 many uses. And when it was made illegal for one or two reasons, we also lost all of those other possibilities. So now it's like it's bringing a lot of things back to the forefront. Things may be capable of moving or operating in ways that we aren't even necessarily like aware of because it's like while it was hidden by law, there were certain things that we forgot. Okay. Like, no offense to any Sagittarians. One of my best friends is a Sagittarius. Another good friend of mine is a Sagittarius. I don't have nothing against Sagittarius. even though I feel like I've been ragging on Sagittarius for almost a year now, but the South Node is in Sagittarius. So Scorpio is going to get it next year, and Taurus is going to get all the praise. So I'm just playing. Because there's something that we always have to offer. And I'm a North Node in Sagittarius. So understanding like Sagittarian energy is part of my path. And also understanding Gemini energy and, taking on the good of Sagittarius, leaving the not that great of Gemini. Everything, though, can either be medicine or poison in the proper um, proportions and balance and amount, in the proper amount. It can be medicine or it can be toxic. So, underlying aspects for. Actually, I'm going to read these first and then we'll go to that. Because that makes sense. I don't even know what I'm looking for yet. So, under what to recall, I'm actually going to put the timestamp up as I do this, so I ain't got to write it down and then go back and do it later. So, there's no more fuss and there's no more scenes in my garden. Thrives, you see my nectarines. And I'm telling you this, I'm tell kings and queens. Don't ever, ever, ever mess around with my greens. Especially the beans. Into the woods. I love it. Okay, so the cards that came out, it's the Weaver and the Creator. Girl, this is some heavy creator energy. What is all this? Oh, well. The Weaver and the Creator. Like, if I felt a headache rolling, this is why. I can feel myself getting warm now. So I'm actually going to drink a little bit of tea. I should have had my water ready, but I don't. So this is a strawberry hibiscus. Shout out to hibiscus. Apparently related to both Lord Ganesha and Lakshmi, I believe. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I feel like my head is about to explode. I can feel the pressure building. It's fine. I'll get over it. I'll get through it. Like I said in the last video, I feel like my sensitivities are increasing. And some of the stuff that's trying to come through now, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, y'all want me to get to this from ink and paper? And then they'd be like, well, ain't nobody say you got to use ink and paper high key. I'm like, okay, well, I am. So that's my relationship with spirit. That's why they gotta wear me down sometimes and beat me up because I can be stubborn. Sorry. Okay. I'm not necessarily feeling any better, but that helped. So the Weaver and the Creator. This is such an interesting energy. I don't know. I'm going to go here first. I don't know how much exposure we would have to this energy, at least in this lifetime. Maybe in any lifetime, honestly. So this deck, at the cut, is the Three of Pentacles and Justice. This deck is the more apparent aspect, or what would be easier to recall or notice. It's the lighter side, more conscious. And then it's the Seeker of Cups and Justice still on the bottom of the deck. I feel like I feel like there's something. It's not a memory. It almost feels like it could be a memory that's trying to come to my mind right now, and I'm just like, it's just not happening. But I do remember the last time I tried to, well, the time before the last time I did a build with me on here. There was like closer to divine, very almost like sacred gift type energy. And I was like, and it was only coming up with two cards. I'm like, how? How? What's interesting is what happened later that same day. And I was like, okay, so that's where that energy was going. I need like the SKT for this. I'm gonna need something stronger than some raspberry hibiscus, some cherry hibiscus. I'm just playing. Honestly, it feels like a certain level of purpose. It feels like a certain level of like what you were created to do. Almost feels like what you intended to do with this life. But it's coming out in the space of something that we need to recall or remember as we like move forward. Something that we already have experience with or in, that we may even have a bit of a foundation in, that we're going to continue to build off of, or that's going to be relevant in this season. But with this feeling like an energy that didn't even necessarily happen within this incarnation, or that you may realize by the end of this incarnation when you reflect back on your life and all that you've done and accomplished. It's like how are we being asked to remember something? And it takes me back. When did I say it? It was like an energy of something that you can't remember, but something that you'd also never forget. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to build a foundation off of that? Like sometimes they be asking for a lot. But in reality they don't, because the soul never forgets. And we already have the answers within us. But choice and free will makes this so interesting. Because we don't have to do anything. Also, look at these hands. You see these? Those, although the sigil or the seal is different, they remind me of the hands from the Temperance card that was at the bottom of the deck on the light side, right? There's the Ouroboros that reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune. And then there's the sword. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, goodness. See, maybe that I'm like, I guess this is the first astrological year in that age of Aquarius energy, or closer to that age of Aquarius energy. And I'm just like, what is this? I'm just like, what is this? I'm just like, what? And it's like I can feel into it, but I'm like, how am I supposed to get here with cards? Maybe I just need to be less stubborn. Like, like I said, like one of my gifts, I feel it's an ability to, I don't want to say identify, but like to feel into energy. And so there are some things that I can kind of sort of get a little bit of a knack for. And it's things that almost in some ways just like energetically or on like maybe a more cosmic level, it just makes sense. It makes sense. And it's something that I've been wanting to hone or use more for over a year now, for a while now. But I was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable like getting that far into anyone else's energy. And if I get into my own energy, then, you know, and that's why like for me the cards are a good like barrier where it's like, I ain't all the way in. And then some of this stuff coming through, honestly, It's like it's that like I can't even speak. It's that like we consume mortals for breakfast type of energy. Like tapping into like this is how people lose their minds type of energy. Like it's so much. Who was that? Ooh, the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups with the Three of Wands. It's speaking to a level of union. And look, no, here it is. There's some more something on the hands, y'all. Now we got third eyes on the hands. First we had stars on the hands, then we had suns on the hands. Now we got third eyes on the hands. And there are three roses in here. Three roses, three wands. It's giving me a little bit of a keeper energy. It's a level of union with ourselves, with the divine, in a higher sense that we're coming into, or it's an energy that's becoming more available. And as that energy is becoming more available, then it's like it gets us closer and closer and closer to godliness. Like if they say that cleanliness is next to godliness, but it's a cleanliness of the heart, the mind, and the spirit, and the body, because it houses them in some ways, right? And so what it's doing is it's allowing higher scale energy to also not to trickle through, but to be more easily um, manifestable, maybe. And so it's carrying a lot. It's carrying a lot, and I'm starting to recognize like what I feel in my own body when like it might go there, and I'm like, ooh, okay. So should I read these first and then pull? Yeah, I'll read these first and then pull, or maybe I won't even use these. We'll see. Because again, it's like for the underlying purpose, I feel like we would already know what it is. It's to get us to what we've been manifesting 5D consciousness, Christ like consciousness, where people care about people, where the world works and functions as a more cohesive unit. And like, as far as like, I'll give it like 5 shuffles. 4, 3, 2 more. I kind of cheat. One more. Because I do 6. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Last one. Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, it's the 6 of Swords. But it's carrying that energy for me. Bottom of the deck is the Death card. Like it would have happened in between lifetimes. Like, and that's the 6 of Swords. It's like when you're crossing the river of blood to exit a womb or to be born. With the 6 of Swords and the Death card, it's an energy between lifetimes, or the energy outside of life, outside of a conscious life. So, AKA not really helpful, but that's fine. So the full scale of this, maybe we haven't experienced, but with the 6 of Swords, it is coming through as an energy. It's a little bit like whatever we do, we create with the divine because we exist in the world that was created by the divine. Nothing really happens without the permission or the allowance, without the allowance of the divine. And so, in that regard, we're always co creating. And so, it's feeling like there's a little bit of a sticky situation type of energy where we got an escape, but it feels like we may not necessarily know how much of that, like, we put in the energy of creating the escape, if that makes any sense. But I don't feel like we're escaping. And I already know what this card is. But maybe that's why the versatility is here. Maybe that's why versatility is here. Because it's like we're utilizing the same principles or similar principles to accomplish a different means. And again, it reminds me of like empathy for some reason. And it was maybe about a year ago when it was like empathy is going to evolve. Like empathy is going to be more than just empathy. Like there's something that lies beyond empathy that we're going to have the opportunity to come into. And it was an energy of an evolution of gifts, not even like a discovery, but an evolution. Excuse me. Or maybe we're going to be using certain gifts together to do like brand new things. So I'm going to read these now. This season is going to be, I feel like, I mean, but that makes sense, right? For spring coming after a long winter, it makes sense if things like just start blooming all over the place out of nowhere. Goodness. So the weaver is the master, the weaver and the creator, yeah. The weaver is the master of their destiny. This deck is named the Threads of Fate because each one of us has thousands of threads that, when combined, weave the fabric of our life. We can braid, nurture, or sever any strand at any time, and in doing so, we are the weaver. This card urges you to take inventory of all the threads active within your life at the moment. What needs to happen moving forward? Which ones need to grow stronger? Which ones need to be cut? What actions can you take to tend the threads of your fate? Then the creator finds us when we need to move the raw and pure energy in our body and allow it to physically manifest. To be with creation is to simply interpret that which is already within us. There are no rules for creation. This card also may indicate a time where you need to protect your creative work. Think of ideas, inspiration, and creativity as a seed that needs adequate attention, nurturing, and protection. If you have an idea or are working on something, you are being encouraged. If you have an idea or are working on something, you are being encouraged to keep the energy close to you. Nurture the seed, protect it, and keep it within your personal container. Do not scatter or share sacred creative energy with others until you know it's the right time. The balanced creator has lots of energy and finds inspiration easily. Others may perceive them as always moving to new things, but in reality, they are grounded enough to show up to one idea in order for it to manifest. Sorry, I'll read that again. Others may perceive them as always moving to new things, but in reality, they are grounded enough to show up to one idea in order for it to manifest. They also have a playful disposition and are skilled at turning challenges into opportunities to problem solve, as opposed to allowing themselves to get defeated. There is a flexibility and fluidity inherent in Creator, which is eclectic and can serve as a catalyst for others to tap into their own wells of inspiration. They can view themselves as being unworthy, and their value can be dependent on how much other people appreciate their work. They may tend to isolate themselves. They can also overlook other aspects of their life: family, friends, responsibility, personal needs, in favor of their creative work. On the other hand, they may have an inflated ego and have a larger than life disposition. They also may believe that they need to suffer in order to create art, in turn keeping personal development stagnant. I remember that came out a while ago. I was like, I hope ain't nobody out there keeping themselves suffering because of whatever they create, because life is too short. And you can create from, happiness and joy. What that also reminded me of is I've been seeing a lot of, it might be the explorer. No. Yeah, yeah. An explorer out of balance can have some ungroundedness and instability. Those that struggle being present with themselves may become addicted to constantly moving and going new places, doing new things, meeting new people. The Explorer and another card had a similar message, and I know they both came out recently. The Explorer came out like yesterday, but I didn't read it. It was the Explorer and something and Reclaim. Patience. It was Patience and the Explorer, and then Reclaim at the bottom of the deck. But this is saying like what may look like an out of balance Explorer energy could actually be a balanced Creator energy. But that groundedness is key. It said that the Creator is grounded, and I don't know why I'm wearing these because there's literally no sound. It said that ungrounded. No, it said that Creator energy, when grounded, like it may look like it's just like into everything, but it can show up to one idea fully. And so there is, like it said, it's like there's a need to sort of externalize what almost lies dormant within you, almost, not necessarily. Well, yeah, I would say it does. Unless y'all out here in creator mode, then it wouldn't. What are the underlying aspects here? Oh my gosh! I'll do 3 more. See if anything wants to join it. Okay, no, that's way too much. I'll add an additional 3. So 5, 4. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. So the Ten of Wands came out, and we saw the Ten of Wands earlier in that previous video. It's speaking to the burden of this ability. With great power comes great responsibility. Also, because it came out with the Two of Swords last time, it feels like there's a little bit of an ignorance here. There's a little bit of an energy here of us, like we're constantly creating, we're constantly weaving. We never really stop. But when we create things that we don't like, it makes it a lot harder for us to take responsibility for the creation of those things. When we find ourselves in positions and situations that aren't favorable, it can sometimes be difficult for us to see how we put ourselves in those positions or how we allow them to happen. Now, not everything that happens is necessarily under your control. Just like I wouldn't necessarily say that the divine like gives permission for things to happen necessarily. It feels more like an allowance because like if you people have free will and free choice, it comes with the territory, right? It wouldn't be free if there were certain things that we weren't allowed to do. It wouldn't really be choice if it was always made for us. And so unfortunately there are things that have to be allowed to happen because to make them not happen or to prevent them from happening violates the whole reason why we're here in the first place, right? And so that energy is here in the Ten of Wands. And also, it's like if we don't take responsibility or accountability for the part that we play, then we can't fully come into all of what Creator Weaver energy can give us or has to offer us. And it's almost through sheer virtue of just like not acknowledging the fullness of our creative power. Not acknowledging that you can create a situation that you don't want, then it's like you inherently in some way hand your power over to something or someone else. And it feels like I don't know if it's necessarily more or if it's an increase in awareness, that makes it feel like it's more, but it feels like there's more life force energy on the well, okay, yeah. It's like there's more life force energy on the planet right now. There's more creative juice that can be tapped. And again, it's an energy that accompanies the spring after the long winter. It's like spirit is coming out of hibernation. But the spirit that's coming out of hibernation is the spirit that dwells within man. And it is connected to the heart. That's why Connect to the Heart just came out. The Five of Cups and the Ace of Wands is here. The Five of Cups, I've been seeing a lot lately, especially in the SKT, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. And in that, it carries the energy of like, see, yeah, that it kind of sort of verifies, validates what I was just saying about how we can create things that we don't necessarily realize or intend to create. Because with the Five of Cups, it's like that ability is always within us. It's just that a lot of times we overlook it for other things in whatever way. There are things that make us unique, there are things that make us us, things that connect us to us, things that connect us to the part of us that's a lot closer to the divine than the facades that we wear because of what life does to us as we grow and mature on this planet, right? As we do what we got to do to survive. But the energy of thriving is very different than the energy of surviving. And if you're in the energy of thriving, surviving is like it's a default, right? To be happy, to be abundant, you kind of have to be alive, right? And you have to be alive in a state well enough to feel that abundance and joy and happiness. And so there's a little bit of energy of the things that it's almost like in life, we're told to make smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller goals. But on a certain level, at least energetically, it's like we can get package deals where if you're manifesting this one thing, all of these other things are included by nature of the state of this thing. And with the Five of Cups, it's like it's time for us to remember, it's time for us to reclaim that which life, especially in the past, did its best to separate us from. Because you can't really make money off of people who are, happy and who validate themselves and who don't really need anything external to them. Unless, you're selling them, some food, some water, and some shelter. Right? And then the last card is the Ace of Wands, which to me, it's really speaking of that creative energy within us that maybe it's like maybe we have some experience with it in the past, but nothing like we're going to be coming into the ability to know. Because in the creator, the wand is in hand, and the Ace of Wands is floating above the hand, right? And in the creator card, there's an energy of potential in here, and then we see the potential realized as stars out here. Okay. Can y'all hear Chino? Probably. So this is what it's for us to recall. And what we have to gain by the end of the season is the warrior. So there we see the sword again. But this sword, this is like one of those rapier swords. This is like a great sword. This is like one of those little fencing. Why do I want to say noodles? A fencing noodle. Um, like this sword is thicker than this one. And a thicker sword doesn't necessarily mean anything, but since it's weighted different, it requires um, a different way of utilizing it, right? Like if you have a thinner blade, your fighting style is probably a little bit more elegant, and it requires a lighter frame or a more agile sort of ability, or an ability to be a little more uh, agile and dexterous and adept. I think adept is the word I want, but it's like deft. Deft. It requires that, right? If you have a bigger sword, then your stance is always important. But if you have a larger sword that's like it has more weight, then you have to be more conscious of your center of gravity as you're like swinging it around or doing whatever. Because if you throw your center of gravity off too much, you'll fall or you'll sway. And so this one, it's not necessarily static, but this blade is a lot less dynamic than that one. And so that comes with needing to ground, right? And the groundedness was talked about in the creator. The warrior also reminds me of the sovereign of wands in this deck, in the tarot deck, I believe, because it has something like this with a little lion skull in it. I guess it ain't a lion in this one, but also, with the ram horns, it is an Aries energy, so that makes sense. There's a certain responsibility here that we need to keep in mind, right? We can create things that make life more difficult for ourselves, and we can also create things that makes life more difficult for those around us. It's almost like remembering the impact of your words, your actions, how you present yourself in the world, because what you do matters. The warrior. Pulling the warrior card indicates a need for strong fire energy and internal power. The warrior is a call to action as opposed to just a state of mind. It asks you to examine not just the oppressive people in your life, but also the larger systems within the world, and then get to work. And that's what I was saying. My grandma was like, the Bible say we don't struggle against flesh and bone, but against principalities. It ain't about the people, it's about the larger systems. The warrior is not about complacency. In identifying where you need to stand up more, you may make those around you feel uncomfortable and defensive, but you must continue forward. The warrior can have a cutting message. It is saying, I see what you are doing, but what else can you do? Warrior sacrifices parts of themselves for humanity at large. The balanced warrior fights to create positive change, but may go about it in questionable ways. They are strong and resilient and do not have fear when they go up against oppressors. When the warrior is imbalanced, they can be very inflammatory and hyper aggressive. They can push those away that may be of use to them and easily bypass things that are good for them. They don't understand the concept of pick your battles and react with equal intensity no matter how big or small the issue is. That's interesting because I was watching a video, the Quantum Queen. I think I talked about her. She pops up on my feed every now and then, so I check her out if I feel like it. Um, and the Strength card came out, and then she was like, the Strength card and the Temperance card carry similar. Was it her or was it someone else? Somebody said that the Strength card and the Temperance card carry similar messages, and it reminded me of the one inspired carpet read I did. I might go back and watch it, um, because that one was all about tempered strength, and it got me thinking of like I've been applying a lot of strength in some areas that honestly, it's like the time for me to put as much strength into it as I was is over, because my focus is shifting. And we all make our own choices and decisions and reach our own conclusions in our time. But it also got me thinking of like, am I putting enough strength into some other areas and aspects of my life? And honestly, the answer is no. But also yes, because I don't have to force anything. Like, I don't need to put an excessive amount of effort into it, but it does require some of my energy or some of my attention in order for it to grow. And I think it was the creator card that mentioned not neglecting like your friends, your family, your personal life, your personal needs in order for whatever creative pursuit or endeavor. It's about a need to balance. It's given me a Knight of Wands energy from the Pride Tarot, especially because it's about moving forward with compassion and the power behind that. It's about giving a voice to those who don't have a voice, especially if that person is yourself. And so Aries energy is kind of sort of, and with versatility at the bottom of the deck, it's like, and again, it's the energy of something that will serve you in multiple areas and aspects of your life. Almost like a gift that keeps on giving. Also, it's something that's connected to a lot of things. And so if you have ego problems related to either being overly aggressive or overly passive, then it's like there are multiple areas of your life that could be affected from some more central or root issues, right? Like if the reason that you're overly passive or that you overly like people please is because it's an energy where it could be connected to some childhood traumas or something like that. Or just like not even specifically childhood traumas, but just events and circumstances that have happened. So I'm actually going to go with the more underlying influence this time. The Fool was at the bottom of the deck. I didn't even look at the bottom of the deck last time. And so I'm going to attribute the Fool to the Warrior. Oh, look, this is the greenhorn. And that's, fully connected. It's taking me back to the energy of the pillars for some reason. Because, like, here the horns aren't connected in the Fool card, really. Well, they are. Not really. It's like the bone hasn't fused yet. So it's a Fool, it's a baby. Here it has fused. It's full grown. So that's an energy of maturation. I guess. Can y'all hear Chino? I think so. I think I just saw it move. Alright, underlying aspect for the warrior. It feels like with this energy of like abundance with this spring, seeds like seeds and like things that hatch from eggs, part of the process is natural, part of the process requires effort. And it's like, chicks have to break out of their eggs on their own with their own strength, right? They break out of the eggs from the inside. Mama bird and Papa bird don't break the chicks out from the outside. They break out from the inside. And I think that's another warrior energy. That's another, like, it's not about the people, it's about the systems. Or it's, I don't want to say both, but people can be educated. People can grow. People can mature. People can have changes of heart and mind, right? Evolutions in soul, or a closening. A closening to of their authentic selves through experiences in life. Systems have to be changed. And sometimes the processes through changing them aren't necessarily easy to navigate. It's reminding me of the conservatorship, or with conservatorship laws, it's like the burden of proof lies on the conservatee to prove that they don't need to be in the conservatorship anymore. But it's like, because of how they're structured, it makes it really hard for them to even represent themselves, or sometimes to choose people who represent them. And so it kind of carries this energy of like, once you get into it, it's hard to get out. And we're all born here, regardless of if we choose to be or not. It's like once we're here, it's like, oh, it's too late. But it's an energy of breaking out from the inside. And it's connected to the heart. It's connected to the soul. It's connected to the mind and the body and everything else. But that's just warrior energy. Okay. Thank you. Finally. Oh my goodness. Is this the only card that came out? I felt like there was two. Oh no, here it is. Hold up. Maybe it ain't. Yeah, Ace of Wands, Five of Cups. Okay. I guess this is the card that came out. Woo! Oh, I thought it was the 10. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles. The card that came out is the 3. So altogether we have the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, Eight of Swords, Eight of Wands. The Eight of Pentacles was the only card that didn't come out yesterday. The Eight of Cups came out. The Eight of Wands came out. The Eight of Swords I saw throughout the recording of that video. So the Eight of Pentacles comes out today through under the Warrior, through the 3 and the 5. This is an energy, like the card said, it's an energy of picking your battles. It's like there are going to be some things that you can work with, and there are going to be some things that you can't work with. And it's almost about realizing where effort would be wasted. Oh my gosh. My throat is starting to burn. I feel like I've been talking for hours and it was just well lubricated. It's like you can't, it's like no matter how much you nurture a seed, if it can't establish roots, it's going to die. Or no matter how well you tend the ground, if it never gets any sunlight, it's going to die. Or no matter how much light it gets, if it's not getting enough water, it's going to die. It's systems, it's things that are so, in some ways, intricately complex that honestly we don't have the ability to do fully. It's the Three of Pentacles. It's a card of collaboration. And so the Five of Pentacles, it may be realizing like the situations and the circumstances in life that don't also show up. Because while we can champion other people and while we can be an advocate, we can't necessarily fight anyone else's fights for them. And if someone doesn't want to be helped, or if there's a certain system that doesn't want to change, then it'll be subjected to time. It's like it's up to the divine at that point. But when we come into a warrior energy, it's like the things that we want to fight for the most, or the things that we want to change the most, are the ones that are the closest to home. But unfortunately, we don't always have the ability to make that happen. And depending on what this warrior energy is, I feel like we may feel like a bit of a failure. Or it's possible that you could feel like a bit of a failure, or that you can feel like you're coming into abundance, or you're coming into education or some kind of knowledge or whatever, but you can't help the people who like you care about the most, or the industry or the community that you care about the most. And then it's almost an energy of like, well, what's the point? And there is a point. There is very much so a point. So, the light of this, I think also like there are going to be things that are willing to work with you in a way that maybe they weren't capable of before. Because again, in the Three of Pentacles, there's the glyph of the waves, which is water, the fire, and the winds that represent air. And then there's the rose that grows out of it. The compass here is bringing a little bit of an energy of direction, but the direction is something that comes from the divine for us individually, and our growth is something that we determine. So let's see. Like some things will work out. Also, like with that Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, maybe there was something that didn't work out that will now, because the energy is, it's ready. Like it's time. Right? It's like we were holding on to fossil fuels until the world melted. But when things get bad enough, we'll do what it is that we've been knowing that we've needed to do. We just kind of sort of in some ways have a habit of running things until the wheels fall off, regardless of how good it may or may not be for us. It's a season of growth and opportunity. Oh, goodness. Who is this? Ooh, the Seven of Wands. Okay, I'll take that one. Bottom of the deck is the Sovereign of Cups. I mentioned. Oh, I mentioned the Sovereign of Wands here because of the horns. Bottom of the deck is the Sovereign of Cups. The Sovereign of Cups is a pre-High Priestess energy. This, for me, it's carrying an energy of like a personalized download. That's like you knowing what you need to do or feeling what like direction you're heading in within your own life. And it may actually line up with what others want to do as well. So there's an energy here of like communities coming together out of purpose. There's some kind of mission here, some kind of collaborative effort with that Three of Pentacles. So we get the Seven of Wands and the Three of Cups. So the Seven of Wands, this is why the Warrior is important. It just feels like it's not necessarily going to be easy. It feels like it's gonna require effort, some diligence, some tenacity, and some fortitude to not give up and to continue going. Again, with the Two of Wands above the Five, it carries an energy of a higher purpose, of a higher calling, of knowing what the divine, knowing what spirit is guiding you towards, regardless of what it looks like. So if there are people who will try to convince you that like you don't know what you're doing and that you're wasting your time, it's about putting your trust and your faith in what you know more so than what others perceive. Going back to that creator energy, I believe. And then we have the Three of Cups upright here. Oh, wow. What was that? What was that? That just surged in. We have the Three of Cups upright here. And the Three of Cups in reverse here in the Five. But this Three of Cups, honestly, it's that energy of community that I was talking about. There's the two moons again. So the solid moon, and again, they're both crescents, so we don't know the full tea. We don't know the full truth. The solid crescent is what you know to do for you. The hollow crescent is how it connects to the world outside of you. And again, it feels like an energy of community coming together with purpose, but also there is some kind of like, it could be a soul to soul recognition. It's just like a brotherly love type of energy. Um, like it's not just business. And so we got the Three of Cups and the Three of Pentacles. Like if we get two threes, it's a pretty good two to have. And this is the more apparent aspect. So it's like continue seeking community, continue seeking fulfillment, even if you're met with resistance or it seems like you're never going to find sort of the place that you belong because it's out there. And then maybe that once you find that community, it'll unlock more and more ways that you want to contribute in whatever, or someone's going to be positioned to like help you or to get you to see something. It's like it's going to put you on your purpose or put you on your mission or something like that. It has the potential to by the end of the season. But again, what we have to gain is this warrior energy. And honestly, it feels like the warrior is also just like standing up for ourselves when we need to, and all that that has the ability to give us. So, this is what I got for this season. It's time for me to take some eye drops. And I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. I feel like this is why that Virgo energy had to come in. The Virgo energy through Pisces season really had to come in and like clean some stuff up. There may be like little hangups, or there may be little areas in which we haven't necessarily practiced our healing that we're going to be asked to now moving forward. But it feels like something that we're positioned for. Just like stay kind, right? That's what I got. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that if you get a chance to sit it out or dance, that you'll dance, right? That's how the song goes. No, I ain't even gonna try to sing it.